Make Walters your spot before and after tonight's concert at Nationals Park. The Jason Aldean and Luke Bryant Double Down Tour begins at 6:15, with Walters located just across the street.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Now the pitch. Swing by Tena to drive it well to right center field. This is deep. This is way back, and this ball is gone. Goodbye. It's a home run to right center field for Jose Tena, his 7th of the year. Bang! Zoom goes Tena. Hit their 181st home run, leading the major leagues, and they take the lead in this game 1-0. Now the pitch, check swing by Carter. Did he go? Yes, he did. For strike 3, strikeout number 10 for Cade Cavalli. And we're only in the bottom of the 4th inning with 2 outs.
I was very grateful for how many friends and family were able to make it out. And it was just really cool pitching in front of them. A lot of them, first time seeing me out there and first time having them in the stands for me. Just felt a lot of love and support tonight. It was great.
Now the set of the pitch. Swing and a long drive deep down the left field line. Hooking toward the corner, and it is gone. Goodbye. Andres Chaparro has done it again. Bang! Zoom goes Chaparro, a 3-run home run, his 8th of the year, and his 3rd hit of the night. And he has broken this game open here in the top of the 7th inning. It's now the Nationals 6 and the Rangers nothing.
And welcome to Nats Chat. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. I'm joined by Washington Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman of NatsJournal.com. He's at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. So each of the first 2 games of this 3-game series for the Nats at the Texas Rangers has been a shutout, but Game 2 was a Nats win. The Nats' 4-game losing streak is over. They won for just the 6th time in 20 games, a 6-0 win at the Rangers on Wednesday night. The Nats now are 61-67 with a run differential of plus 19. You can always email us, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. Email from Kurt writes, Kurt, I have to respectfully ask that Al stop mentioning the Nats' National League wildcard position at the top of each episode. Quite frankly, it's a depressing reminder of how quickly the season has unraveled in a very short period of time. In fact, I fully expect the hapless Mets to overtake the Nats in the NL East standings before the end of the season. Well, thank you very much for the email, Kurt. I hear you. I do. I will not mention that the Nats on Wednesday night gained ground in the National League wildcard standings. In the meantime, the Rangers, they now are 62-65, have a run differential of minus 48, and yet somehow are just a half game behind the Minnesota Twins for the American League's 3rd of 3 wild card spots. Coming up later in the show, an update on the Nats' AA affiliate, the Harrisburg Senators, from the voice of the Senators, Frankie Vernowski. But I tell you what is happening with Nats starting pitcher Cade Cavalli right now is so exciting. His starts are becoming events. The guy is on fire. He was the Nats starting pitcher for this game on Wednesday night, and he again was excellent. The run he is on is as good as any run that any Nats starting pitcher has been on since the glory days of 2012 through 2019. Cavalli on Wednesday night, 6 scoreless innings, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk. Mark, Cade Cavalli is a machine right now, and it is a pleasure to watch him do what he is doing.
During a 3-week stretch in which hardly anything else has gone right for this team, what a breath of fresh air it is to see Cade Cavalli not just pitching well, but dominating. He is pitching like an ace and kind of keeps getting better. I mean, I could make a case that this one in some ways is more impressive, more dominant than the no-hit bid last time against the Cubs. That may be the only thing that prevented this from matching. That is the fact that Blake Butera pulled him a little sooner than maybe some fans would have preferred after 6 innings and 84 pitches. But to first 8 outs on strikeouts, gets to double digits by the 4th inning. He has now had 8 consecutive quality starts, something nobody for this team has done since Max Scherzer. You just mentioned, not since that great era of the 2010s. His ERA is down to 3.22 for the season. And what I love, and I think we've alluded to this before, he keeps getting better as the season goes on at a time when we didn't know if he'd be able to physically hold up for a full major league season. He's not just holding up, he's thriving here as we reach the final quarter of his first full major league season. That to me is so impressive.
Getting better, getting stronger, being more dominant. I mean, it is something to see what he is doing here. Cavalli on Wednesday night, 6 scoreless innings, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk, gave up just 3 hits, all of which were singles, issued a wild pitch, threw a lot of strikes, 84 pitches, 58 strikes, just 26 balls. He joined Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg as the only pitchers for the Nats since the franchise moved to Washington, D.C. to pitch at least 6 innings, allow no earned runs, and record at least 10 strikeouts in each of at least 3 outings in a regular season. Now, you mentioned Nats manager Blake Butera pulling Cade Cavalli after just 84 pitches. I mean, you know, there are some people who have a problem with everything no matter what. To me, this was perfectly sensible. Cade Cavalli is a young pitcher. He has an injury history. He was coming off an outing in which he threw 103 pitches. I didn't have any problem with this. Did you? Butera pulling Cavalli at 84 pitches?
No, as much as like you'd love to see him keep going. And there's a point early in this game. He gets to 10 strikeouts by the 4th inning. And you're saying to yourself, oh man, does he like have a shot at some real history here? And for the record, I looked it up. Max Scherzer in his 20 strikeout game only had 9 through the 4th inning. So Cavalli was ahead of that pace. Now, you know deep down, he's probably not going to go all 9 innings, which is what it would have taken. And the key here, it's not about the pitch count here, or even the fact that he threw 103 last time out. I mean, he is now up to 142 and 2/3 innings on the season. We have to keep reminding ourselves that this is his first major league season, first full major league season. All the injuries in the past, they're not taking the old Steven Strasburg shutdown approach with him, but they have to be mindful of what his workload is. And they want to get him through the whole season. They don't want to shut him down. But the trade-off may be a few of these kind of starts where you say, you know what, you were great for 6 innings. Pitch count's 84. We've got a 6-run lead. Take a seat, shake some hands, get ready for your next one. We're going to get you through this whole season in one piece. I think it's completely understandable and laudable in a lot of ways that they're approaching it that way.
And, you know, the fact that he has remained healthy, I think is a credit, you know, not only to him, but to the organization, how the organization is handling Cade Cavalli. The stats now for him are just so good. 27 games, all starts, ERA 3.22, whip 1.22, strikeouts per 9 innings of 10.22, a whole lot of 2-2s, and 162 strikeouts. You know, we've brought this up previously. He has a shot at a 200 strikeout regular season. And, you know, that might have been more on the side of unlikely than likely as of even the last outing. But the way he's stacking up double-digit strikeout performances now, he's at 27 starts and 162 strikeouts. He could get to 200 strikeouts. Like, that's not that far-fetched at this point.
No, not at all. And I mean, you saw in this one, he's not just striking out guys, he's doing it with ease. Maybe the most remarkable stat from this game, he gets to 10 strikeouts in 4 innings, and his pitch count is only 60. He's averaging 15 pitches per inning while striking out almost every out that he's recording to that point. So he's not working these long counts. It's not having to really dig deep and find something to get him. I mean, he's getting ahead in the count, and then he's putting him away as soon as he has the opportunity. That's a testament to the stuff that he's got, to the way he's commanding it. And as he pointed out afterwards to us, it's also a testament, I think, to their game planning.
It is a testament to the process of coming in every day and, you know, working with these guys and working with our staff to just get better in little areas where we need to.
They know what they want to do with each hitter they're facing, the best way to get them all out. He's going into those at-bats with that in mind, and he's executing what that game plan is. And that's allowing him not just to be dominant, but to be efficient at the same time. That's how you have the opportunity to do something like get to 200 strikeouts for a season.
Yeah, it is stunning that he is this good. Okay, like had he been, someone pitching to the tune of like an ERA in the low fours this season, I think most people would have signed up for that given all that had transpired with him in his career. That he's pitching at this level, you never in like even your most optimistic Nationals thoughts would have anticipated this, I think, if you're being honest. And, the career trajectory, as we have discussed, of having gone from being a bust to now breaking out. I mean, what a just massive leap he's taking from where he was to where he is. And you think about now what he could be. It's maybe the single biggest positive development for the Nats this season in terms of an individual player. And, Butera, was interesting hearing you talk to him during his postgame session. Butera clearly was very sensitive to the pitch count. And that's like something he was very aware of as Cavalli was going.
Honestly, the thing I was thinking about was his pitch count. I'm like, just when you have that many strikeouts, you worry that he's going to, throw a lot of pitches early in the game. But he did a nice job of still keeping his pitch count down somehow, but getting a ton of strikeouts.
But it sounds like Cavalli's going to be able to finish out the season here. Like, they may have to manage it a little bit, but, this isn't like they're going to have to shut him down with like 2 weeks left. Like, it sounds like he's going to be able to finish out the season. And assuming he stays healthy, get to say 31, 32 starts.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as, he's not reporting any physical issues, which he is not to this point, as long as, say, the velocity is being maintained, and so far it has. I think he threw harder in the sixth inning of this game than he did in almost any other inning that he pitched. As long as you're seeing all that and that there's no other signs of any physical issues that might suggest he's getting tired, they want him to finish out, because the idea would be, and we always talk about this in the past with guys that they would, shut down or manage to a certain number, that then dictates what you can do the next year. Well, if they really do have visions of playing meaningful games this time in September and maybe beyond, you need him to have, a good 160 innings under his belt this year, so that that's not a difficult step up for him a year from now when he's maybe being asked to do even more. So as long as the signs are all there and there's nothing to be worried about, they won't hesitate to keep putting him out there. Now, I do think when they have an opportunity to do what they did in this game, pull him, they had a lead, I think they're going to take that. It would have been really fascinating. It's unfortunate it's not the case. It would have been really fascinating if they had stayed in the race and he was making important starts all the way through. Would they still pull him at that point? Or would they say, we need to win this game and he's our best pitcher and we're going to let him go? I guess we'll never know the answer to that, but maybe a small silver lining, if you want to call it that, to the collapse of the last 3 weeks is that it does now allow them to use Cavalli as they probably preferred all along and make sure that he is healthy through the rest of the year.
It's funny, too, when Foster Griffin was with the Nats, I said to you, well, Griffin is having the best season by a Nats starting pitcher since 2019. You could argue that Cade Cavalli is actually the guy who's going to end up having the best season by a Nats starting pitcher since 2019 in terms of what the pitcher does this season. Now, it becomes tricky with Griffin because he's no longer on the team. But like, if you just look at overall ERA for this season, and I'm going to include what Griffin has done with the Cleveland Guardians just to further our point here for Cavalli, Cavalli's ERA now is almost as good as Foster Griffin's. Griffin's is at 3.18. Cavalli's, as mentioned, is at 3.22. Cavalli outdoes Griffin big time in terms of strikeouts. Griffin has been better in terms of not putting guys on base. But, that's another thing with Cade Cavalli. So he, for a good chunk of this season, had a pretty high whip. He was putting guys on base. The whip has come tumbling down. He's not putting people on base anymore. The strikeouts have always been good. The ERA, for the most part, has been good. The whip, though, really has come down. It was like in the 1.4s. You got it down now in the 1.2s. That's a big improvement for him.
Yeah, so many of his starts in the first half, I feel like we were talking about, well, he didn't have his best stuff. He got into a lot of jams, but he got through it and he minimized the damage. And that was good and that was important. What we're talking about now is nothing like that. He's barely putting any guys on to begin with, and he's just cruising through these lineups. That's another sign of the progress that he's making. And I think as we were having those discussions this year about Foster Griffin, I kept saying, yes, Griffin has been their best pitcher this year, but Cade Cavalli still profiles in the long run as their number one starter because he has the ability to dominate a lineup in a way that Griffin just doesn't. It's not a knock on Griffin. It's a compliment to Cade Cavalli. And we have seen that now over these last, really a good month's worth of start. The irony, this run kind of started on that night at Fenway Park where the storyline was a little something else about Cavalli, not the actual way that he pitched, but he's taken from what he did in that game, which was fantastic, and basically sustained that now for a good month and a half.
Yeah, and we talked about what he did that night. After all of the hullabaloo, he stayed in the game and he pitched well. He plowed through that. He basically ate that up and spit it out and just put together, at the time, what seemed to be the best outing of not just his career, but okay, this is going to be his best outing of the season, right? This is his high point. It's like, no, it ends up being maybe like his third or fourth best outing this season by the time all is said and done. Cannot say enough good things about Cade Cavalli and the work that he is doing. And in a time in which things have been rather rough for the Nats in terms of what we're seeing on the field, Cade Cavalli, a clear bright spot for weeks now.
If you're like me, you're the kid who savored every last drop of sugary milk at the bottom of your cereal bowl while watching Saturday morning cartoons. Kachava's new flavor, Cinnamon French Toast, gives you a bit of that classic nostalgia. And I love that it's made with real cinnamon bark. It's a comfort flavor, but with benefits and without the sugary drawbacks. There's no artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners. It's non-GMO, there's no soy, there's no animal products, no gluten, and no preservatives. But Kachava does provide all the nutrition your body craves in one deliciously simple shake with just 2 scoops. So treat yourself to a childhood favorite. Go to Kachava.com and use code SPORTS for 15% off your first order. That's Kachava, Kachava.com with code SPORTS.
Did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? Driving high will get you a DUI. And if you're wondering if law enforcement can tell you're driving high, well, everyone else can. Friends?
I can tell you drove high.
Parents?
I can tell when you drive high.
Relatives?
I can tell. You drove here high, didn't you?
So what makes you think law enforcement can't?
I can tell.
If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
The 2-2 coming home. Swinging a ground ball up the middle. Abrams dives. He's got it. He pops up. He throws. Got him at first by a step. C.J. Abrams, a spectacular diving play from the shortstop position. Across to the other side of the bag. Robs Peterson of a hit. And the Rangers go 1-2-3 against Cavalli in the bottom of the 5th.
So the Nats, during their 4-game losing streak, totaled a mere 8 runs. But the Nats on Wednesday night, 6 runs, 10 hits, which were 2 home runs, 3 doubles and 5 singles, 3 walks. And the run total could have been higher. The Nats went just 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Before we sing the praises of what we saw offensively with this team on Wednesday night, C.J. Abrams was not the Nats starting second baseman. We're still waiting on his first game at second base off Blake Butera during his pregame session with you guys this past Friday afternoon, making the big announcement that the Nats are moving Abrams from being primarily a shortstop to being primarily a second baseman. Now, Abrams on Wednesday night, starting shortstop, number 1 batter, 1 for 5 with a double and a standout defensive play. You had to laugh if you saw this. Abrams, bottom of the 5th, a diving catch in shallow center field of a grounder up the middle by Jock Peterson for a ground out for the 3rd out. You see, who says that C.J. Abrams is bad defensively? But the fact that we did not see Abrams as the starting second baseman for this game, we're still waiting on that. What do you make of that?
What I make of it is that Blake Butera may regret that he came out and said that they weren't going to make this move until CJ says that he's comfortable with it. Appears so far, CJ Abrams has not said that he's ready to make that move. And unless at some point here, Butera is going to step in and say, no, I think you're ready. I think we're going to go ahead and do it. That's why he was at shortstop in this game. Butera pregame did really not want to get into much detail about it. He kind of waved that one off and couldn't wait to move on to the next question.
CJ at shortstop, are you still waiting on the thumbs up from the coaches and him?
Yeah.
It's on hold. I mean, how would
that's
you?
it. Yep.
Yeah. He needs more reps? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know yesterday you wanted, by having him DH, he can just focus on working at second. When he's also now starting at short, does that change what he can do pregame, or he's still?
Yeah, a little bit. He'll spend most of his time at shortstop pregame. Yeah, a lot of it's just waiting for him to feel good over there and be ready to go.
I don't know this is necessarily how they all envisioned this would go, but in trying to be sensitive to Abrams' feelings about all this, they're kind of leaving at least some of the decision up to him. And at this point, he has not said that he's ready for it. Now, the issue there is, he DH'd on Tuesday and still did all his pregame work at second base. And that was the idea, that he could do that. Now, he starts at shortstop on Wednesday. He's got to do all his defensive work before the game at the position he's actually playing in the game. You don't want to work at one position and then start the game back at a different one. So it's not like he made any progress towards second base on Wednesday. This is a tricky thing now, how you're going to do this. I don't know. I know they want to do it sooner rather than later. Then he goes and makes a fantastic play up the middle. I feel like since the announcement was made, has he had an error? Has he had a rough moment in the field? He's been pretty good. I'm not saying they're going to backtrack on this and change their plan, but in a weird way, I wonder if making this decision has actually given him a little kick in the pants and made him suddenly start playing better at shortstop.
Let's just be clear, though. He's slow playing this. Is it safe to say that? Is it accurate to say that he's slow playing this? He's taking his time with this. He's not, going all out to make this happen as quickly and smoothly as possible.
It sure feels that way. And I'm not going to say that, you should just be expected to switch positions and all of a sudden be comfortable there right away. But he has played the position before when he was in San Diego. Even in the big leagues, he did a little bit. It's not completely foreign to him. This isn't, hey, you've been a shortstop your whole life. We're going to now teach you to play first base or center field or catch or something like that. It should be a relatively quicker transition than that. Yeah, I think he is taking a little bit of the power dynamic there and saying, okay, you're going to let me be a part of this decision? Well, I'm telling you, I'm not ready yet.
All right. Well, he can do that. I mean, it's not a great look for him, I don't think. And at some point, it's very simple. Paul Taboni can step in and say, okay, CJ, tonight you're playing second base, period. There's only so much power that Abrams can exhibit in this circumstance. We'll see. This needs to happen by the weekend, I think. If we get through the Marlins series and Abrams still has not started a game at second base, that's a problem, okay? This need, it doesn't have to happen today. It doesn't have to happen tomorrow, all right? But it needs to happen at some point by the end of the Marlins series this weekend, I think. Otherwise, this really becomes bizarre.
And I think it will. I would be surprised even if it makes it all the way to Saturday or Sunday. I really think whether it's Thursday here in Texas or maybe Friday in Miami, I don't think you can drag that on any longer without it becoming a real distraction, being a problem. At some point, yeah, it might be Butera and Taboni stepping in saying, okay, you're ready. Let's do it.
Well, because there's also this, too. Other people notice what's going on, and other players in the clubhouse see what's happening. And if other players see C.J. Abrams dictating the terms in which he is moved from one position to another, that's not a good look for the administration. That's not a good look for Blake Butera or Paul Taboni. So, at some point, you need to retake control of the situation and, let people know, hey, we're in charge here, okay? We run baseball operations, and, if we tell you to do something, you need to do it. Now, we will work with you, okay? This is not like a dictatorship necessarily, but, you don't tell us how it's going to go. We tell you how it's going to go. So the Nats, I think, are trying to be diplomatic in doing this, and hopefully Abrams rewards that, although it sounds like right now he's maybe taking advantage of that.
Don't call us, we'll call you, I think is the way to describe what's happening right now.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way a little bit. The Nats' home runs in this game on Wednesday night came from Andres Chaparro and Jose Tena. Chaparro, what a run he's on. He is the Nats starting DH and number 5 batter, went 3 for 4 with a 3-run homer, a double, and a single. Chaparro in the Nats' 3-run 7th had a 2-out 3-run homer to left field for a 6-0 Nats lead. Andres Chaparro now at the major league level in this regular season, 136 plate appearances, OPS of 903. Do you remember a time in your life, this was not that long ago, that Andres Chaparro was bringing down the Nats lineup and people didn't want to see Andres Chaparro? Why does Andres Chaparro get plate appearances with any kind of regularity? Well, he, for about a month now, month and a half maybe, has been on fire. and he has his OPS above 900. His OPS is higher than C.J. Abrams' OPS, 884. That's how good Chaparro has been. Now, Chaparro hasn't had as many plate appearances as Abrams has had, but the run that Chaparro is on really is something. And, right now at this moment in time, if I say to you, you need a hit from a Nats player, who are you putting up in the box? If you say Andres Chaparro, you're not crazy to say that. He has been that good lately.
Yeah, and he is doing this against both lefties and righties. I think that's important to keep in mind here. This is the guy who, like so many others on this team, was a strict platoon player for much of the season, and almost all of his at-bats were coming against lefties. Well, kind of like was the case with Curtis Mead, who started out that way. Butera told him, I'll tell you what, you start hitting lefties, we're going to let you then face righties. Once you prove that you're really good against the strong side of the platoon, we'll see what you can do against the weak side. And that's what's happening with Chaparro. It's a small sample now, but he's batting .391 against righties this year with 3 doubles and 3 homers in something like 27 plate appearances or something like that. So it's not a lot, but he is doing it. And in this game, he had 3 hits, all of them off righties, a double and a homer. And we mentioned that Fenway series with Cade Cavalli as a turning point. That was also the turning point for Chaparro. It was the day after the day game, he hit a home run over the Green Monster. Ever since then, it's like he's flipped the switch and started out against lefties, now doing against righties too. And we're getting to a point here where I think you're going to see him in the lineup most nights regardless until he proves otherwise, because he is consistently driving the ball for them and producing in a way that not a lot of others at the moment are doing on this team.
Yeah, and I've made the joke that when Wilson Contreras threw that batting helmet aimed for Cade Cavalli and the helmet hit Andres Chaparro, that unlocked something in Chaparro, and he just has been really on fire ever since then. And, it stands out, too, in this game, both Chaparro and Abimelec Ortiz were in the starting lineup. Chaparro as a starting DH, Ortiz as a starting first baseman, and number 2 batter, Ortiz 1 for 4 with a double and a walk. So the Abimelec Ortiz Andres Chaparro tag team in place of the departed Luis Garcia Jr. continues to be so productive. It's not a simple deal because at times, like on Wednesday night, Ortiz and Chaparro play at the same time. But what the Nats are getting from Ortiz and Chaparro, just so good. And, if you're not paying attention, and it's a small sample, I'll grant you that, Luis Garcia Jr. for the New York Yankees has an OPS of 588. Luis is not doing so well for the Yankees so far. The Nats sold high on Luis Garcia Jr. Going to be a while until we can truly evaluate the Nats having traded him, but so far, not so good for Luis Garcia Jr. He homered for the Yankees in his first game with them, but since then has not done much. So Andres Chaparro continues to be productive, and I do want to say this about Jose Tena. So he in this game as the Nats starting left fielder, number 3 batter, 2 for 3 with a solo homer, a single, and a walk. He in the Nats 1-run third had a 2-out solo homer to right center to put the Nats up 1-0. The homer went a projected 415 feet per Statcast. This may surprise people, but Jose Tena's OPS is 723. I'm not suggesting that he's some great player, but I know a lot of people roll their eyes when Jose Tena is in the lineup or comes up to hit. I get it. But, his OPS is better than that of Jacob Young, is better than that of Dalen Lyle, is better than that of Dylan Cruz. Tena has done some decent things this season, and the homer was kind of a reminder of, hey, he's not the, automatic out that I feel like some people perceive him to be.
Sure, and I think probably the frustration comes from the fact that, as was the case in this game, he hits third a lot for this team, which doesn't quite add up when you think about what you imagine number 3 hitter to be. But I think we've seen enough now this year to know that Blake Butera and Ani Kalambi, who is very influential in making out these lineups, I don't know the full rationale or reasoning behind it. They do not view the number 3 spot in the lineup as the most important, or even the second most important, or even the third most important spot in the lineup. For whatever reason, they see that as actually a lesser spot, and it's more about wanting to have a left-handed hitter there and break up the righties, and about not bunching all your best hitters together at the very top because, when everyone was healthy, Abrams bats cleanup, clearly a better hitter than Jose Tena, should be hitting ahead of him. They have their reasons. I don't know exactly what it is, but Tena bats third a lot. That does not mean they view him as like their third best hitter. It's whatever they do to make their lineup optimization that says he should be there. A lot of times it hasn't necessarily worked out. In this case, it did. He had a really good night, and it was good to see him do that.
Cade Ruiz, he is the Nats starting catcher and number 6 batter, 2 for 3, RBI single, another single, and a walk. Ruiz's OPS now at 755. I tell you, the Nats, even with the recent struggle, still number 1 in MLB in runs scored, number 1 in MLB in home runs, and number 1 in MLB in stolen bases. You know, whether the Nats leading MLB in all 3 categories continues for the duration of the season, we'll see. But even with the recent struggles, the Nats still number 1 in those departments.
Did you know that driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal? Driving high will get you a DUI. And if you're wondering if law enforcement can tell you're driving high, well, everyone else can. Friends?
I can tell you drove high.
Parents?
I can tell when you drive high.
Relatives?
I can tell. You drove here high, didn't you?
So what makes you think law enforcement can't?
I can tell.
If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
Bird to the belt. Here it comes. Swinging a pop-up on the right side. This should do it. Ortiz and Nunez are there. Nunez will take it. Nunez has it. And the Nationals have a shutout win, 6-0. The teams have traded shutouts in the series. Cade Cavalli punches out 11.
And the Nats relief pitching in this 6-0 win at the Rangers on Wednesday night. Very good. 3 Nats relievers combined for 3 scoreless innings. Will Dion, a perfect bottom of the 7th. Max Kranick, a scoreless bottom of the 8th. And Jake Bird, a perfect bottom of the 9th. And we had some bullpen maneuvering by the Nats. They, on Wednesday afternoon, announced having selected the contract of relief pitcher Eric Tolman from AAA Rochester and announced having option relief pitcher Giovanni Cruz to AAA Rochester. So the Nats obviously recognizing that Cruz needs work, but opting not to keep him at the major league level for lower leverage appearances, sending him back to Rochester. And Eric Tolman, you wrote about his journey on NatsJournal.com. Man, what a story this guy is.
Yeah, I'm going to have more in the next few days on him, hopefully once he appears in a game, because there's a lot to this one, and I wouldn't be doing it justice to just give it a couple of lines like I did in my pregame story on Wednesday. Not a big name, a name that maybe a lot of people have not even heard of. He was a 14th round pick out of Arizona State in 2021. Within the organization, he is very well respected because he has had to endure through the kind of physical ailments that you and I can't even imagine anybody going through. 2 Tommy John surgeries. Was coming back from the first one, it re-injured again, had to have it the second time. We know already how difficult that is for anybody to come back from. He comes back from that in 2023, and it's only a few starts into it, I think. He's at Fredericksburg, and this is the freakiest thing you can imagine. He's jogging, I can't remember if it's on to the field or off the field, and like a lot of pitchers do, they hop over the baseline on their way to the mound or on the way back. He lands awkwardly, blows out his knee, tears his hamstring, and suffers nerve damage. It is such a gruesome injury that as he's in the hospital, he actually, for a brief period of maybe 5 to 10 minutes, he thinks, the doctors and nurses are talking about the possibility of amputating his leg. Now, obviously, they didn't do that. He was able to recover from it all. He still does have issues. He does not have feeling in his right foot. He had to have what they call a foot drop. He doesn't run nearly the same way that he used to, but he's a left-handed pitcher, and because it's not his drive foot, not the one he's pushing off of, it's his landing foot, he's able to pitch, had some success, and they called him up. And you talk about a meaningful promotion to the big leagues. This is very significant for him. About 3 years, almost to the day after he suffered that crazy knee injury, he's a big leaguer. He'll pitch in a game here at some point. This means a lot to him.
Yeah, very cool story. All the best to him, and we'll see what he can do for the Nats as a reliever at the major league level. Game 3 for the Nats at the Rangers Thursday night at 8:05. I'm sure the Nats are thrilled that a getaway game is a Thursday night 8:05 game for them. But the Nats have listed Andrew Alvarez as their probable starting pitcher for the game. By the way, it is an FS1 game. Is it an 8:05 game because the Rangers want it as an 8:05 game, or is it an 8:05 game because FS1 is televising the game? Do we happen to know the answer to that?
I believe that's a Rangers thing because if I remember right, this was scheduled this way from the start of the year, and the national telecasts are picked up later on. So no, I don't think that would be the case. And it's not a full national broadcast. It's still on Nationals TV. Yeah, it's not just it's a getaway night, but they're changing time zones to fly to Miami. That's not a short flight, Dallas to Miami, and then playing Friday night. I'll tell you what, I know there's a lot of seemingly more important stuff that the players union is going to be fighting for in the new CBA. They should take at least a few minutes to fight for more getaway day games and more restrictions on the travel. You're seeing more and more teams take advantage of these getaway night games. And I know there are rules in place. It has to do with how long the flight is, but I don't know they always take into account time zone changes. They should be fighting for things that are actually beneficial to these players' health so that you're not playing a 7 o'clock game in Dallas one night. And then I think it's a 6:40 game in Miami the next night. I know it doesn't seem like much, but I do think it's something the players should be making a case more for, because if they don't, MLB is just going to step on them and do whatever they want with their scheduling.
I agree. 7:10 in Miami on Friday night. But I mean, the point remains. The other thing, too, is these insane runs of 17 consecutive days with no off day. The Nats right now in the midst of a stretch of 16 consecutive days with no off day. There's no reason for that. You can sprinkle in more off days. Start the regular season a few days earlier. Don't have as many off days in April. There are things you can do so that you don't have these bonkers runs of 2.5 weeks with no off day, especially in the middle of August. Like, what good does that do anyone to have these insane runs like that? Anyway, all right, we offer shout-outs on the Nats Chat podcast. You write them, we read them, $25 each. Think of a shout-out like a message on the scoreboard at Nationals Park. Email us for more info, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We have this from the husband of Elena. Happy 26th birthday to my amazing wife, Elena. I'll always cherish the memory of watching the 2019 World Series together when we first met. I love watching Nats games every day with you, and I'm so grateful to have someone who I can share my love of baseball with. Very nice. Happy birthday, Elena. My daughter's birthday is on Thursday, August 20th. So happy birthday to everyone with a birthday on that day. You tell us what you think. Hit us up on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. And as mentioned, you can email us natschatpodcast@gmail.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat, courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
The 0-1. Hit in the air, deep out to left. Forget this one. Way back it goes. Goodbye. Home run. Home right, home run, Ethan Petry. And the Senators lead 5-1 in the fifth. Frankie Vernowski checking in with the Nats Chat podcast as the Harrisburg Senators are on the road taking on the Akron Rubber Ducks, AA affiliate of the Cleveland Guardians. First on a couple of hot hitters in the Sens order, first baseman Brandon Bossier has been on fire over the last month. Since July the 21st, he's been hitting .350 with an OPS over 1,000. He's been among the top 3 to 5 hitters in the Eastern League over that stretch, and a shame that he spent 3 months on the injured list this year because he's played tremendously both at the beginning of the year and this last stretch, shouldering that time on the IL. Ethan Petry has been red hot, 13 RBIs over his last 6 games, hitting the ball hard every time he makes contact, 3 home runs in that time over the last week of play, a real RBI machine. And one other now recent addition for the Senators, Elijah Green, getting his promotion to join Harrisburg just a couple of weeks ago. You want to talk about somebody who can hit the ball hard? That's Elijah Green. Seemingly every time he makes contact with the baseball, it's hit at some 112 miles an hour. And then there's a whole bevy of pitchers to talk about, as it seems that everyone that the Washington Nationals acquired at the trade deadline was pitching somewhere else in the Eastern League. A couple of lively bullpen arms. Right-handers Ben Grable and Joe Glassie have not allowed a run since joining the Senators across 5 outings. Grable has real electric back-end pen type of stuff. There's Ken Degley's-Verges, who came from the Cleveland org, an electric arm throwing 97, 98, 99 miles an hour. And then a couple of real poised and talented starters. Left-hander Josh Hartle, also coming over from the Cleveland org, and right-hander Jack Siebert, who joined Grable from the Yankees organization. Firstly, Hartle has good, as I said, poise on the mound, confidence in rolling through hitters. He's put together 2 strong outings to start his Senators tenure, mixes his pitches well, and a good breaking ball to boot. And Jack Siebert, he has a good mix of, firstly, fastballs, a straight 4-seamer, a 2-seamer, and a cutter that he uses well to both right and left-handed hitters. And last week at home in Harrisburg for his second Senators outing was snapping off a beautiful curveball that I didn't recall so much from his first outing that he made at Chesapeake. But both have been fun to watch, and looking forward to more action from all of those arms and more as we wrap up this season. The pitch hit in the air out to deep right center field, chasing Hanchey back onto the warning track. He leaps and he cannot make the catch. The runners hold. Now Fitzgerald breaking around. He's coming in to score.
Sleep Number's new collections are designed to adapt to the changing nature of your life and your sleep needs. Whether it's the personalized comfort of the Comfort Mode mattress, the targeted pressure relief of the Comfort Next mattress, or the Climate Collection that actively cools or warms to help you fall asleep and stay asleep.
And now, all beds are on sale during our biggest sale of the year. Save 25% on the new Comfort Next Luxe, plus free delivery on any mattress. Ends Monday, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.